Well, good afternoon, or perhaps it's morning or evening where you're at. We want to welcome you to today's Journyx Project Execute Demonstration. My name is James Bronner. I'm the Director of Marketing here at Journyx, and it's certainly my pleasure to be the host for today's demonstration. We recognize that your time is valuable, therefore we'll just keep you to 30 minutes today. Our goal is to do about 20 minutes of the demo and leave about 10 minutes for Q&A at the end. But we do want to get you back working productively at the bottom of the hour. A couple of housekeeping items. If you need to expand the screen for better viewing, there is an icon in the bottom right-hand corner. It's got a % associated with it. You can increase that. And then, as I mentioned, Meredith is going to be taking us through the demonstration today, and we encourage your participation with questions. The way you do that is simply click on the Questions tab in the GoToWebinar control panel. Type in your question. I'll be collecting those as the presentation moves forward, and then we'll get to as many of those as we can at the conclusion of the demo today. So our agenda is quite straightforward. First, Meredith Zachritz, our Director of Product Management, will take us through the demonstration of Journyx Project Execute, and then we'll be covering your questions at the end. So without further ado, let me hand over the reins to Meredith.
Thank you, James, and welcome, everyone. Since Project Execute is focused on helping organizations to execute projects successfully, we're going to start by identifying 3 things needed for project success. And those are managing the schedule, managing resources, and managing communication. Pretty much any activity a project manager is engaged in can be included in these 3 key areas for successful project management. Now, people actually get your projects done, so managing and getting the most effective use out of your portfolio of resources is critical. Project Execute is designed to help companies allocate those scarce resources across competing projects, identify projects that are most productive or profitable, and empower those people to get the projects done. So by integrating your project schedule, your people, and demands on non-project time, it gives you that single pane of glass view into all your project work and resource availability so that you can more effectively manage the schedules, manage the resources, and facilitate that communication. One of the pieces of the resource availability puzzle that's often either not included or sort of glossed over in traditional project management systems is the scheduling impact of small projects, administrative, or lead time. Project Execute allows you to manage your complex, deadline-oriented projects, of course, but it also allows you to manage those maybe small 3-person, 3-day projects, on-demand service requests, administrative work, and leave time all in one system. So as a result, your project and department managers can see a complete picture of the demands on resources when they're planning or adjusting those project schedules. So that's a quick overview of Project Execute, and it's what we're going to be showing you here today. Our demonstration will show a day in the life of 4 different key players in the Project Execute system: a project manager, a project team member, a department or resource manager, and finally, an executive. So we'll start with our project manager. Our project manager is responsible for creating and managing the project schedules, assigning people to work on tasks, or maybe obtaining resources from department managers, monitoring the project progress and status, and reporting on actual work. So we'll go ahead and take a look at how she does that in Project Execute. On a typical day, your project manager will start out on this project status dashboard. This dashboard view is something that you're going to see in various forms throughout our demo today. We talked about the integration of project schedules, people, and time, and it's right here that all of this information comes together. It's something that can be adapted to the specific person based on the information he or she needs to see. In this case, our project manager is concerned about the project schedule. So where the project is today and what might need adjustment in the near future are her 2 primary concerns. and she has that information right here in front of her. So instead of making phone calls, sending lots of emails, or trying to catch up with people in the hallway to find out when something's going to be complete, she can see which projects are on track and which aren't. More importantly, she can see why the problem projects are off track. And she does this through a number of warnings and alerts, and they inform her of tasks that are overdue, assignments maybe where team members have requested more time than was originally estimated, allocations that force users to work overtime, and so on. If she needs to look at a specific problem for more details, she can switch to a detailed report, just like the one we're looking at here, for a selected project, and she can do this directly from her dashboard. One of the advantages of using Project Execute is that you don't have to rip out and replace your current business processes and systems. So as an example, many of our project managers use Microsoft Project to build their intricate project schedules and task work breakdown structures. When using Project Execute, project managers can continue to build project plans in MS Project. They can assign resources and work, and then they can synchronize this data with the click of a button. The Journyx Project Link integration allows them to bring over all their project data, tasks, work, assignments, and any custom fields that they set up and populate. So, as your project team is tracking actual time in Project Execute, those hours come back over to MS Project and update the actual work field. Likewise, any changes to estimates that project managers approve in the Project Execute system will update the work field in MS Project. Now, you certainly aren't required to use MS Project to track your projects in Project Execute, and so we'll go ahead and take a look at one that's entered directly into the Project Execute system, our website development project. And we'll select a specific task to look at all the details and information that you can track. Project plans in Project Execute can be as simple or as detailed as you need them to be. Work and date estimates for tasks roll up to the project level. As actual work time is entered, you can view the progress graphically on each of these task details screens, like the one that we're looking at now. And there are lines for that actual work and also lines for comparison to look at the work, the amount assigned, and amount remaining. The screen would also show any requests for additional time that team members have submitted. And as you'll see when we look at the team member view, team members can send feedback to project managers when they expect to complete a task in more or even less time than was allotted in the project plan. Project managers also have the option to set baselines and then track the variance from the current plan. Now, since we know that we need people to complete our work, the next thing we'll want to do is create or adjust assignments. If our project manager isn't authorized to assign all the resources she needs for a particular task, she also has the option to create a requisition request, and that notifies the resources department manager of the need for resources for a particular project or task. But for today, we'll go ahead and take a look at how we might create or adjust assignments directly for resources that our project manager does have access to. When project managers or department managers go to create or adjust an assignment, the assignment management screens provide them with pretty much all the information they need to make allocation decisions. So after selecting an existing assignment, or it could be a block of unassigned work, managers can search for team members with the appropriate skills, locations, availability, or pretty much any other criteria that your company wants to set up and add to the search selection. We'll go ahead and take a look at some business analysts in Austin, Texas. And we end up with 3 candidates. The color-coded bar graphs provide a quick way to search for available time for each person. The white space indicates available hours or unassigned time, and you can mouse over it to see exactly how much time is available for the selected period. Because we're assigning a specific task, our time period for our bar graph is determined by the start and end dates of the task. The green boxes represent other projects and tasks that are already assigned to this person. Vacation, holidays, and a percentage for overhead or administrative time that you can set is reflected in the gray boxes. Project managers also have the option to show a what-if scenario in the bar charts where they can actually show what will happen to a user's availability, assuming they were to make the assignment to that individual. Project managers can search for specific dates or trends in availability using the availability calendars. As an example here, Scott Whitney is over-allocated on the second day of the period, but we can see that he's got time available on each of the other days. Once the assignments are made, the project manager can monitor assignment status via the reports and alerts that we looked at on the dashboard, and the team member will see those assignments in a list on a screen where they can update their actual time. So let's go ahead and jump to our team member. We'll take a look at what he does in an average day. Our team member is one of the people responsible for actually getting the project work done. So he needs to track his actual work, update his completion time and estimate changes. You might call this ETC, or estimated time to complete, as well as track all the other stuff that he does, such as non-project work and organizational work and time off and so on. He needs one central place where he can easily and quickly do all of that. Now, I'm guessing that you guys have observed, as have I, that there are very few people in this world who really enjoy tracking their time. I'm one of those people. I've been working on time and productivity software for Journyx for over a decade now, and I still don't just love tracking my time. However, I'm also a project manager, and so I understand that it's very important for me to capture accurate and timely data on the amount of work it takes for us to complete our projects. I know I need my team members to track their time, but I also know I need it to be really fast and easy so that it doesn't intrude on their day's productive activities. Project Execute offers unparalleled flexibility when it comes to time entry environments and the options that allow you to customize the time entry process for each type of person in your organization. We're starting today by looking at the My Assignments view, and it's a sort of dashboard of personal assignments for the project team member. There are a number of things that he can do on the screen, but really there are three main things he's concerned about most of the time. The first is, what is he supposed to be working on this week? And he has a list of his assignments for this week and any of those that might be overdue from previous weeks and are still unfinished, including alerts that let him know if he's got issues or problems that he needs to act on with respect to his assignments. He also needs to be able to track his actual work, and he's got two ways to do that. He can click on the current day and pull up a time entry screen with all of his assignments already filled in. He can add any time entry details that he is required to based on his company policies, add comments and hours, and save that time. You can do that quickly and easily with the list of his current assignments. Now, he also has the option to enter time for a longer period, say for a specific assignment, by clicking on the clock icon next to the assignment. And he gets a weekly view where he can enter time. Perhaps he's fallen behind on his time entry and wants to enter time for the entire week. And either option is available. The last thing that he needs to do on this screen on a regular basis is check his estimate remaining and make sure that he's still on track to do the amount of work required for the assignment as it was planned. If he discovers that he needs more or less time, then he has the option to update this estimate remaining field, and he can enter in how much time he still has remaining. Text in green indicates that he has made a change, but that the project manager has yet to approve it and roll it into the project plan. He may also be required to enter a comment with his change so that project managers will understand why he needs to make the change, and they can then maintain a written record of the running conversation of why the change is made or not made. So without adding a lot of work or taking lots of time, our project team member has one place where he can see what he's assigned to work on and when. He's got one place to track and enter his progress, one place to communicate when he's going to be finished, and one place to enter his overhead time and expenses. And it's all on a very intuitive and easy-to-use interface for a person who has to juggle a variety of tasks for different projects. Now, for employees who work on maybe simpler projects or do project work less frequently, you can also give them a traditional grid time entry screen. The grid time entry screen options and layout can be customized in a large variety of ways in Project Execute, and it's an equally viable alternative for entering actual work against task assignments. So whether your users prefer to track assignment work using those clock icons on My Assignments where they have a total view of the projects and assignments and dates and deadlines, or your users prefer just a basic spreadsheet-style time entry screen, all time entered is used to update project status in exactly the same way. Any workflow for timesheet approvals that you assign to the user will apply to the time regardless of where or how it's entered. Our next view is from the perspective of a department or resource manager who manages a set group of people, maybe by function or division. So she's approving timesheets and expenses, monitoring her employees' workload and availability, and reporting on her department and people. When she logs in, she can automatically see the numbers of timesheets and expenses waiting for her approval. And she can approve these on a summary basis based on the information that she sees here, or she can click on links to view each sheet individually before she takes action. She also has the option to monitor her group's overall timesheet submission compliance using the Organization Compliance Viewer. The color-coded icons show which people in her department have submitted timesheets and who's late. She can click on those icons to take action, such as send an email to the user who is late, letting him know that he needs to submit his timesheet. She can use these icons to track how many sheets she still needs to approve for the period, and monitor general compliance for any given period. The last thing that our department manager does on a regular basis is monitor her group's workload and availability. And we'll go ahead and search on her group for the upcoming week. In a view that pulls in much of the same information that our project manager saw when she was searching for resources for making assignments, our resource manager can monitor availability of both her group, seeing aggregated totals for all of them, or by the individual people in the group. Like the assignment screen, she can see bar graphs that show how much time each user has, or maybe how much time they're already over-allocated for the period. It also shows the calendar availability graphs that indicate which date or series of days are the busiest for a given time frame. All of the views and information that we've demonstrated thus far can roll up to the executive level. For example, our CFO needs to have that 10,000-foot view of the projects in the company portfolio. And he needs to be able to evaluate them in the context of organizational goals and strategies. So he's monitoring costs, evaluating return and profitability, and using that information to make decisions on priority or overall organizational status. Like other people using the Project Execute system, the CFO has a series of dashboards. These dashboards are specific to him and show a broader, more high-level view of all corporate projects, potentially grouped and aggregated by program, customers, strategic initiatives, or any other grouping mechanism that he chooses. So he can select the fields that are shown, he can filter on the data, and then he can set up grouping for these reports. He also has the option to include charts for visual indicators of information like project percent of work complete or budget used versus what was projected. So as an example, we have our cost to date chart, which shows how project current cost, which is shown in gray, compares to the projected cost, represented by the black line. You can also take a look at the return by looking at the projected revenue, shown in green. And red sections of the bar alert you to cost overruns. The CFO can also include dashboard links to any other types of reports available in the system. Project Execute includes a variety of report types and canned reports that can either be built from scratch or simply customized by an average non-technical user of the system. For more advanced reporting that taps into all the power and flexibility of Microsoft Excel pivot tables, Journyx Report Link is an optional add-on reporting engine with report types that are really limited to what you can dream up and build. Just like the other report options, you can access it in the Journyx system under the Reports menu. When you click on the Project Execute dashboard link, it opens the default report link file in Excel. We'll go ahead and jump to Excel and look at some of the examples. Unlike a simple export to Excel, Report Link provides you with direct, real-time access to your Journyx data. So you can build reports, add custom calculations, and then update your data at any time with the click of a button. We'll go ahead and take a look at some of the flexibility in the report types that you can build here in some of our samples. You can build and customize as many Report Link dashboard files as you want to. You can also distribute these report templates to others in your organization. These report templates do not contain the actual data, so users can only see the data they have access to report on in the Journyx system. So all Journyx groups and roles and security rules that apply to the users when they log into the Journyx system also apply to their reporting capabilities in Report Link. You can customize the charts and graphs, and you can add fields and filters to the actual pivot table data. Using pivot table tools, you can add any field from the Journyx database by simply dragging and dropping it into the report. So with some basic knowledge of how to use pivot tables in Excel, your organization can access, manipulate, and analyze the information in the Journyx system in pretty much any way that you desire. So today we've seen at least some portion of the most popular Project Execute features. You are very welcome at any time to schedule a custom demonstration where we can show you some of these features in more detail or how you might use them, and also show you some of the features that we didn't cover, such as demand management, which allows you to automate the review and evaluation of work requests or potential project proposals before you approve and add them to your active projects queue, or resource requisitioning, which we looked at very briefly. And it automates the process where a project manager doesn't have authority to make all resource assignments. And so he or she can send a requisition request to a department or resource manager who will make the assignment for him. The value that any organization derives from implementing and using Project Execute really depends on the specific problems it's trying to solve and the unique and various ways it goes about solving them. What everyone gets out of Project Execute is detailed insight into what people are doing now, what they're scheduled to do in the future, and how this more effective cross-project resource management drives project profitability and success. So this concludes our demonstration. Thank you for your time, and I'm going to go ahead and turn the presentation back over to James for questions.
Well, thanks, Meredith. I would encourage you to submit your questions if you've not done so already using the Questions tab in the GoToWebinar control panel. We've got a couple of minutes left, so let's get to as many of these as we can. Meredith, our first question comes in from Danielle. She asked about the integrations that are available with Project Execute to connect with some common accounting systems, as well as exporting the data to use in other systems.
Sure. There are a variety of ways that we handle integrations with accounting systems. We have some standard products for some of the most popular accounting systems that, provided you want, this set of data transferred from this system to that system in this exact way, you can use them out of the box. We also have a very experienced professional services team who can customize your integration should you want to do something that sort of falls outside of the box. Finally, we have perhaps what is the most manual process, but something that you could do entirely on your own, which is use our import and export tools. That doesn't require any technical experience. They're very user-friendly tools included in the core product, where you can export data from our system in a format that can be imported into most any other system, and vice versa. We have import tools that allow you to bring text files from other systems into our system. So it's entirely your choice. There's a spectrum from doing it all by yourself to having our team build you something that's entirely custom, but it's your choice, and there are many options.
Thanks, Meredith. Steve is chiming in. He says, we have many of our larger projects on one side of the company, and they're using Microsoft Project, but there's a whole slew of other projects that are going on that aren't managed in that way. Would this be a solution that could help us to manage the smaller projects?
The answer is absolutely yes, and even better. In addition to managing your smaller projects in the Project Execute system, you can also see the demands on resource availability from those MS Project managed projects. So the idea here in Project Execute is to get all of your project data as it affects your resource availability into Project Execute in a fast and easy way, and then you know what demands you have on resource time. So now when you're managing those smaller projects, which are easy to get up and running in, say 5 minutes, enter your time, enter your work, enter your dates, and make an assignment, and you're ready to go, in Project Execute, you can see the demands on time with those small projects, and then when you import that information from MS Project, you can also see the demands from those MS Project managed projects, and you understand how much time is really available for each of your resources.
Thanks, Meredith. Well, we've got about a minute left, and I'm going to try to squeeze in 2 quick questions here. One of them from Anne Marie is being asked. She says, help me to understand, kind of in a nutshell, what is the big value benefit of Project Execute over using something like Project and Project Server? And I know you just covered part of that, but you might address the Project Server aspect, Meredith.
Sure. Really, it is a question of total resource availability. Not only from the perspective of being able to see everything that has a demand on your resources time, but also being able to give your resources access to one central system. A lot of times with Project Server, there's a select group within the company who have access to Project Server and can track, their actuals and so on, but it's not everyone. It's not universal. Likewise, Project Server is still pretty much geared at showing you availability for the projects that are being tracked in Project Server. And of course, there are lots of projects, or maybe non-projects, maybe like I said, there are service requests that come in, support requests, that just it doesn't make sense to set them up and manage them in Project Server. But Project Execute gives you access to all of the demands on a person's time, including their time off and overhead. You know that there's a percentage that will be spent on overhead time. You can see all of that in Project Execute. Plus, it's very easy to give universal access to Project Execute. So all your end users are entering their information there, and then it's very easy to update Project Server with what everyone's tracking in Project Execute. So it really is that total resource availability picture.
Great. Thanks, Meredith. Quick question. I'm sure you'll be easy to answer. This is coming in from Russ. Russ says, your very last slide at the bottom said something about it was available both online and installation. Can you expound on that?
Sure. It's very much your option. We do offer a hosted monthly rental service where we take care of all the data security and backups and management so that that's not a headache for you and everyone just accesses the system via the web browser. But if you have an IT department that likes to manage applications in-house, there is an installable version that you can put on your own servers where you can manage it. But once again, all the end users will continue to access it via web browser. So web browser is really, and web access are the only two requirements for all those end users.
Great. Thanks, Meredith. Well, we've come to the end of our time. I promised you to keep you at 30 minutes, and we're right there, but we still have some more questions coming through. So I'll tell you what I'll do is I'll leave the session open for a few extra minutes, give you a chance to go ahead and submit your questions, and then we'll have Meredith respond to those electronically for you. We want to thank you for taking time out of your schedules to join us today. We'd encourage you to visit our website if you'd like some additional information on our product or our company. As well, we've got a wonderful webinar series going on at this point. We've got some folks who have literally, some have 20, some have 30 years of experience managing people, projects, and businesses that are doing these webinars for us. And you can garner not only some free PDUs, but some great information to help you to be able to drive your projects to more success. So I'd encourage you to visit our website should you desire to do so. We also want to thank you for taking time out of your schedules to join us. We wish that all your projects would move forward, and as we like to say, don't just plan your projects, but execute them. So again, thanks for your participation, and we hope you have a wonderful day today.